here come the blues people to the rescue. And what happens when the whole nation has the blues? You either learn something from your blues people, or you end up losing the best of your democracy. Here we are in 2008. One of the most critical times in the history of the nation. 2 wars, American imperial occupation in Iraq. Wall Street near collapse. Housing, roads, bridges near collapse. Children wondering what the future will be like, maybe not being able to live lives commensurate with those of their parents. Class polarization, political polarization, still racial polarization, because yes, in the 60s we broke the back of Jim Crow Senior. Still got a lot of Jim Crow Junior around. De facto racial segregation. And lo and behold, here comes Brother Barack Obama. And I must say, for me, it's almost he dropped out of the sky, because I didn't know of the brother 5 years ago at all. I don't keep up with politics in the State House of Illinois. I don't specialize in keeping track. I spend time in Chicago, but I focus on Southside post-Mississippi Negroes in Southside Chicago. But no, here come Barack, and then when he gave his first speech, all the country was impressed, but I wasn't impressed. I just wasn't. He came up talking about America's a magical place. I turned to Brother Tavis, smiled, and said, which America is he talking about? Magical place. Has he been to parts of Harlem? Has he been to parts of Southside Chicago? Has he seen what the white brothers and sisters dealing with in rural Appalachia? Has he seen the burial? Don't know, he was just being eloquent and mythic. I said, oh. I said, he's going to have a Christopher Columbus experience. He's going to discover America. Oh, yeah. You got wonderful people in the country. We got people willing to struggle for democracy, but it's not a magical place. We just crack vessels like any other place. We're just being willing to keep alive a democratic project longer than others, and we can lose it like any other place. Still got our xenophobes, homophobes, whole host of others. Nothing magical about America. It's because hard-working, sacrificial, decent, compassionate people commit themselves to public interest and common good to keep it afloat. And you still got structures of domination chopped through it. You still got imperial arrogance thinking an American baby has more weight than a baby born in China or Ethiopia or on the West Bank or Tel Aviv or in Guatemala. You still think America, God is winking at America like they so chosen. So I had to talk with my brother Barack. I said, Brother West, I heard you said some pretty harsh things about me on television. He said, why'd you say that? I said, brother, I said it because I believed it. I said, but I love to talk. And we sat and talked for 6 hours. It's a beautiful thing. 6 hours. And I went away convinced he was the best that American civilization had to offer at this crucial historic moment. I said, I understand we don't agree on everything. I understand we need a division of labor. Your calling is a calling of governance. See, my calling is not one of governance. I'm not interested in governing. My calling is Socratic and prophetic. I try to raise unsettling questions, willing to live and die for justice. That's a different lane than governance. I said, I'm too old to support garden variety politicians. Are you interested in becoming a statesman? He said, that's what I want to do. I said, I got one question, brother. What is your relation to the legacy of Fannie Lou Hamer and Martin Luther King Jr.? That's all I got. That's the only question I have for politicians. What is your relation to it? Do you fundamentally believe that the quest for unarmed truth, recognizing that the condition of truth is to allow suffering to speak, and that the suffering of blues people and oppressed people and poor people is one of raising their voices, just like the anthem of a blues people of lift every voice? Do you fundamentally believe that justice is not some abstract construct, but rather justice is what love looks like in public? So that when you really love people, you can't stand the fact they're being treated unjustly. You loathe the fact they're being treated unfairly. So it's like fire deep down in the depths of your soul. You got to do something about it. You care so much, you can't help yourself. That's the legacy of Martin and Fannie and Malcolm and others. Now, politicians usually don't feel that at that level because they're concerned about the next election and compromise and so forth. Understand that. That's a different lane. Leaders are made by the movement that produces them. No Martin without the civil rights movement. No Malcolm without the Nation of Islam. No freedom fighter who stands out, who's not part of a wave. There's no Barack Obama without those of you who supported him and sacrificed for him in that way. Now, he understands that. He understands that. That's a beautiful thing to have a leader at that level who understands that. But the challenges still are so strong. And we have not been helped by the press because the media has been completely caught off guard. They come up with notions like post-racial. Where in the world that comes from? What a barbaric, truncated, emaciated category. Post-racial. What do you mean? Well, white brothers and sisters voted for him in Iowa, so he's a post. No. Black folk have been voting for white candidates for decades. Didn't make him post-racial. We got a white man, Gary, Indiana, a few years ago. It's a chocolate city. And black folk voted for him. Why? Because he had qualification. They weren't concerned about his pigmentation. Didn't make him post-racial. White brothers and sisters all of a sudden say, you know, we really want to vote for a black man based on qualification rather than pigmentation, and so we've really gone beyond race. We don't see color anymore. No, you're just less racist, that's all. It's not post-racial at all. You're less racist. That's good. But keep the language clear. Well, we're colorblind. You're not colorblind. No, nobody sees somebody else and doesn't see their body. I think it's fascinating to me. When white brothers and sisters had to keep track of black people's humanity, blackness got to disappear. It has to vanish. I don't see color at all. I just see a human being. What kind of human being are you looking at? There's no such thing as a human being that's not embodied. Why you got to get rid of my black body to keep in contact with my black humanity? Oh, I know why. Because that body's been associated with degradation for so long. And if it's no longer associated with degradation, it has to disappear. Like it's just some abstraction, some platonic form floating above my body. No, I'm my mama's child and my daddy's kid. They had a body. I like the way their body looks. I like the way my body looks. It can need a little work, but that's all right. But all these years, black brothers and sisters have been keeping track of the humanity of white brothers and sisters without saying they were colorblind. Because whiteness was on a continuum with humanity. How come blackness can't be on a continuum with humanity? We ask our journalists. And it's fascinating to me how colorblind everybody's supposed to be. And as soon as Barack wins, we so glad we got a black president. I thought you were colorblind. Oh yeah, I don't see color. Oh, it feels so good to cross the color line, but I really say I'm colorblind. It's a contradiction. It's a contradiction. We need to have a language, and of course this was part of the problem with the campaign, because when Brother Jeremiah Wright came along, all of a sudden you get a black man speaking his mind freely in a black context in the church. The issues of race come through with an intensity. Goddamn America when America kills innocent people. What's controversial about that? Does anybody worship a God who's not a God of justice? If any country kills innocent people, Brazil, Cuba, Zimbabwe, South Africa, there's some divine condemnation if you got a God of justice. Why is it when America kills innocent people, he becomes anti-American in his critique? No, he's anti-injustice in America. That's different. Fox News gets it, twists it up, making this is just goddamn America, goddamn. Listen to the whole sentence. God